You're listening to a podcast from the Finnish Football Show.
Yep.
Yes, it's the Finnish Football Show. Listener, I am Mark Wiltshire, and for this episode I'm flying solo, and yet far from solo. This is the first episode in our Veikkausliiga preview series. I had an idea that it would be great to get a fan from every Veikkausliiga team to come on and talk about their team. And then I realised that from the wider Finnish Football Show community, two teams that we had a fan interacting with us last year, with two of those teams were relegated, which meant that Farid and Eif were no longer part of this, and also Seppo and Lahti, which is added to my workload. So then I had to find 8 new people that I hadn't met before to come onto the pod and talk about their teams. And it's been quite a week, listener, but I did it. The final one has just been recorded. I've now got a preview of all 12 Veikkausliiga teams to share with you. And what I decided to do in the end is to put this out into 3 slightly more manageable episodes and put them out during the week leading up to the start of Veikkausliiga 2025. So you're gonna hear from me, because I interviewed some of these people and then some recorded solo, and there's 1 or 2 others where members, familiar voices from the Finnish Football Show team, will be kind of interviewing other people. So it's been a bit of a team effort to pull this all together. But in this first episode, we're going to hear from a fan of FC Haka, IFK Mariehamn, AC Oulu, and HJK Helsinki. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and I'll see you one more time at the end.
Hello everyone, it's Ally Manson here, giving you the preview and hopefully a few bits of information regarding to how HJK are shaping up this season. I don't want to dwell too much on last season, but even though HJK fell short and deserved to fall short, it was quite a fun title race. So I would be up for that again this season, but with a slightly different outcome. HJK didn't deserve to win the league last season. It's as simple as that. Were they even the 3rd best team in the league? I'm not so sure. It was a slow and chaotic start to last season, and that's really ultimately what cost the club. So this time around, it has to be a strong start. They have to get some wins under their belt. And pre-season, if it's been a bit up and down, but I was at the Liga Cup game versus Coops the other week, and to be fair, Coops did get a red card quite early on in the game, a deserved red card for 2 quite cynical fouls. But even before that, HJK were the better team, and they were playing some really nice football. Coops weren't really creating too much, even though they did actually go ahead in that game. And that was quite promising and reassuring, because over the last couple of years, HJK have just never really played well against Coops. So that was a tiny bit of comfort and definitely a platform of optimism, or for optimism, ahead of the season. The European campaign last season was also quite fun, I have to say that. Hopefully, and I use the word hopefully, there will be another European campaign in the autumn, but it will be quite hard to qualify this time round because of the poor league positioning from last season. But I'm sure we'll come and speak about that as and when. There's been quite a few interesting signings. First of all, I have to make a note about Cheikh Sidibe from Senegal. Now, if my sources are correct, and by sources I mean the mate who I stand next to at HJK, who does know a thing or two, I have to say, I've been reliably informed that Cheikh Sidibe wasn't a professional football player until about 18 months ago. So he's now ended up in the Veikkausliiga. I saw about half an hour of him the other week. He looked tidy, composed. So yeah, let's see. HJK needed a left back and they got one. Other notable signings would be Ville Tikkanen, who again made a cameo the other day and yeah, looked pretty solid. And then I think the exciting signings, at least from my point of view, are Alex Ring, who, yeah, if he can stay fit, will be a really good addition for the club. And this young whippersnapper called Teemu Pukki, am I saying that right? Yeah, who knows what he can do. But in all seriousness, of course, there's a lot of excitement, not even just at the club, but in the city as well, for Pukki coming back to play for HJK. Now, it's been quite a badly kept secret that he was coming back over the last few months. There were lots of things in the paper that his daughter had come back to Helsinki and was in high school and all sorts of things. So even though it was a pretty bad secret and something that we were expecting, it's still pretty exciting. And I have to say, I was very, very excited when it was finally announced. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him week in, week out. He's obviously not the player that he used to be, but he can still score goals and he should still be able to score goals in the Veikkausliiga, and hopefully he could also fire the club into the Europa Conference League as well. It's a bit of a shame that he won't be able to be partnered by Lee Irwin. I was really hoping of a Pukki-Irwin partnership. Lee Irwin left the club at the end of the year to a North Macedonian club. Now, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it has caused a lot of confusion and a lot of eyebrows were raised when it was announced that that was where he was going. Now, of course, I don't know too much about North Macedonian football. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. But a little bit of research about the league and about the club made me really question, has he gone there for money? Because the facilities look pretty poor. There just doesn't seem to be any quality about that league at all. I mean, I know the Veikkausliiga isn't the strongest league in Europe or even, in the top 15 strongest leagues, but the North Macedonian League does not look like even a professional standard. And so I have a lot of questions about that. Maybe he just loves hot weather. He's obviously played in hotter climates than Finland. Of course, I wish him well. But yeah, that's a very puzzling move for me and something that I would love to find out the truth behind it, to be honest. He was a big exit and a bit of a blow to the club. Another notable exit would be Noah Pallas to Vålerenga in the Norwegian league. Good luck to him. He was a solid player for HJK, but I think that was a good deal all round. I'm not going to make any predictions for HJK this year, but they do have to look at winning the league. It's going to be competitive. Coups are going to be up there. Ilves are definitely going to be up there. I think they're going to be the ones to beat this year. And yeah, it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, come on HJK.
Hello, my name is Tuomas and I'm a bit Haka fan since my birth. So, hello.
You've been going a long time then, Tuomas.
Yeah. Born and raised in Valkeakoski, so there was only one sport, and that was football.
Absolutely, and you've had some glory years in the past as well,
Yeah.
and back to being very competitive in the Veikkausliiga now.
Yeah.
So which new players has Haka signed, and also like which players have left in the winter of 24-25?
Yeah, as we sort of earlier chatted, so the Haka is operating with pretty strict budget. That means quite high turnover from year to another. So I think we lost some of the good guys that had been for more than one seasons, like Evangelos Patulidis was moving to Norway. We even got some transfer fee. Maisa Fall, that was really good for us, changed to VPS. We left Juho Kilo early in the season to the Netherlands, and also missing the Antoni Olisania, but that was the highlight of our end of the season. So a lot of turnovers. On the other hand, we got some good Finnish players. Mikael Almén from Inter, Eetu Mömmö from Lecce or SJK, Kalle Multanen. So there is good guys, plus also the new foreign guys that we still are sort of kind of a question marks that how do they perform in the season. But a lot of new people in and out. So it's this time of the year you still are sort of a little bit unsure that how they will do.
You said before that you haven't seen much of the Liga Cup competition, and I think even that's not that great a guide to how these players are going to do, because they're very much feeling their way into a new club, a new squad, and it's maybe these last few practice games where things start to come together, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think the team is still forming themselves. So probably also I think we have had a lot of new guys coming in still during the spring. So probably the start of the season might not be that great, and then hopefully towards the summer we'll see that what's the sort of overall level of the team.
Looking at some of the new players coming in, it seems like your manager Andy Smith has been going back to the British Isles and to Ireland to bring in a few reinforcements as well. Yeah,
and I hope and believe that he has a better sort of eye for what is working in Veikkausliiga than maybe the previous season, where some of the foreign players were really good, and some of them were clearly not up to the speed in the Veikkausliiga. So really looking forward that now this is the first season that Andy Smith has had the chance to take the whole preseason, plus affect that who is selected into the club and who is not. So interesting season ahead.
What's the general feeling among your fellow Haka fans about the changes to the squad?
I guess we are sort of missing some of the best players that we had, like Patulidis, as discussed, but it's optimistic. I think we had this similar setup last season, that it was really a big question mark that after Teemu Tainian's time, that how are we going to do, and the season proved that we were really or surprisingly good. I think everybody's expectations were sort of exceeded, and then we were sixth in the league and in semifinals in the cup, and the cup is always important in Valkeakoski. So we were really happy, and I think there is a slight optimism despite of all the changes.
Every year, football fans allow themselves to be optimistic again.
Yeah, and this is the part of the season that you need to be optimistic. It's the same with the national team. So
yeah, that's true, and also, as of yet, with the season not starting, nothing's gone wrong yet. So you have to keep positive.
Everything is possible. So,
do you feel excited at the start of the new season? And if you do, what is keeping you sort of feeling excited?
Yeah, I guess just to get the season started after a long winter is exciting. But apart from that, I think, as said, so our head coach Andy Smith had a really good starting season last year, and now we have the first full season that he he's sort of in charge of the team. So really looking forward to see that what he can bring in, and how does it look like now that he has a chance to sort of affect which players are in and which are not. On top of that, we have interesting players like Almeen, Eetu Mömmö, Kalle Multanen coming back to Valkeakoski, the bomber of Viala. So and of course the new foreign guys, that which of them will prove to be good and which of them not. So a lot of things to wait for.
So predictions time. How do you think Haka will get on in the Veikkausliiga and the Suomen Cup this year?
Yeah, well, based on the Liiga Cup results, as said, so I think it will take some time before the new team starts to perform, and there is also several teams that were behind us last year. ASE, Oulu, Knistan, Inter has been really good in the Liiga Cup, so the competition is probably going to get tougher. But I think top 6 placed and cup final to get into the cup train, that is a tradition in Valkeakoski, would be the dream. And then the nightmare is to get into the relegation battle, and then there is variance in between. But I hope that we can get better from last year and improve in the playoffs.
Okay, hi. My name is Johan Lindblom. I'm here as a fan to talk a little bit of IFK Mariehamn today. My background in the club is basically I'm born and raised in Mariehamn. I played football for IFK Mariehamn. I played ice hockey. You did track and field. I think I even did cross-country skiing for the club. So it's really my roots. And now I've been living in continental Europe for like 30 years. So I think I'm still using the club as a little bit of anchor to back home.
I think a lot of us do that with our hometown clubs.
Exactly.
And you mentioned to me before this IFK Mariehamn, and I said that there's a lot of clubs with this IFK initials. Just explain that a little bit, what that means, just for people that are listening.
I mean, it's basically, it means sports club, the comrades. Basically, it goes back to the early 20th century, so it's 100 years old, and it's in Sweden. There's strict rules. I think pretty much that the clubs should use a certain colors, blue and white. And in Sweden they're all called IFK Gothenburg, IFK Stockholm, etc. Whereas in Finland it's Helsingfors IFK, Vasa IFK. So that's a different, and in Finland, the clubs tend to use whatever color they like, basically. So that's a little bit of difference there. And I think IFK was called Mariehamn's IFK until the 90s, but now it's been really a push to use the IFK Mariehamn since the last 20 years. And I don't know why that is, but it's decided that that's the name of the club.
And you said to me before that although there's many clubs called IFK, Mariehamn is your IFK.
Exactly. So when I say IFK, I'm referring to IFK Mariehamn, obviously.
The only one, of course.
The only one, the one.
So tell a little bit about the players that have come into Mariehamn this winter from last season.
Okay, so I can also maybe talk about a little about the ones that left at the same time, in the replacement. So I think we can start from the good side, which is the forward. So we lost Adam Larsson, who he scored 11 goals for us last year, which was a little bit surprising. I didn't think he had that capacity in him, but he decided to move on. I think I found him in the second US division in California somewhere, Monterey. And here we got in 2 new players. I don't know where the boss got those money from, but we have 2 English players coming in actually with nice backgrounds from the Everton and Leicester academies from the beginning. Both of them has played over 50 games in Championship and League One and scored some goals actually. So they had quite a good list. It's Admiral Musqui came in February he was known at Harrogate, I think was his last club before he came in. We haven't seen much of him because he got injured more or less right away, and he's still injured.
Wow.
So 2 games previous, we got in also a guy called Cody David, and he came from 2nd Scottish division at this point. They're both like 24, 25 years, so still quite young. And he came in on his first test game. He scored twice, and they signed him directly. And even after the first training, the trainers leaked to the press that this guy we have to have. So he looks really good, I have to say. So in the end, we lost a guy who scored 11 goals, Adam Larsson, but I think these two have potential to knock in 15, 20 in between them if things go well and they can stay injury free, I think. So all in all, I think there's a potential of having a little bit better attacking this year than last year, which was quite abysmal, I would say.
Abysmal. I think you're the first person to call their performance last year abysmal. So, although I suppose the 2 teams that went down, we haven't spoken to those fans.
Yeah, I think we probably scored less than lucky in the end. I think, and we had problems both ways. We didn't score, and we conceded a lot of goals. So. And then on the midfield, I think we lost particularly one player that's worth mentioning, Robin Sid.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because his quality is on the pitch, but also he's kind of a club legend. I think he has almost 250 games for the club. So, and Swedish speaking and captain could relate to the local people in that sense. So he will be missed, maybe more off the pitch and on the pitch, but also on the pitch, I think. And here we got in also a couple of really nice names. I would say we had a return of Jelle van der Heyden, who is a Dutch. Probably has like 50 games for Twente in the Eerste Liga in the Netherlands. He played for us the autumn of 2023, where we were in the negative qualifications to fall down, and made it against Gnistan. And he played for maybe 3-4 months, and then he left for the Faroe Islands. Seems like they have more money than us on Faroe Islands, which is quite embarrassing. And this year he came back. So, and he looks really good. He's kind of the player that needs to take a leadership role on and off the pitch. He's a bit older. He's a bit more experienced. So he would lead. He's also probably the vice captain. He was not the captain right in the end, but he's the one who will lead the troops on the field, I think, pretty much. So that's a good one. And then we also have 2 Finnish young guys came in. Niilo Ujasalo from HJK organization, also from Klubi 04, I think it was his last. So he's 20 and looks really good, as well as Antoni Hutonen from KTP, right? Yeah, KTP. I think he was the player of the year in Ykkönen last year, and he's also only 2021. So these are very interesting players. So I also think there's potential for the midfield to be stronger this year.
Yeah, they're permanent transfers as well, aren't they? They're not loan.
Yeah, exactly.
Loan
they're not on loans. No, not the ones I mentioned are on loans. Then we come to the defense, and that's where I think the trouble starts. We were not good last year. We were not good last year. We did a lot of mistakes. We conceded a lot of goals, and 2 centre backs left. That was the Eero-Matti Auvinen and Pedro Machado, Portuguese guy. Those guys left. Neither of them really, I think, the club wanted to extend with either. So I think it's not a big loss. And it's a little bit of a chance here. But so Pontus Lindgren came in. He came from Sundsvall in Superettan in Sweden. He was a strong player for them on that level last year. And he is actually already nominated to be the captain of the club. And he's supposed to lead the defense. He has not been completely convincing during the preseason. So there is a lot of worrying about the defense this year. He will probably play together with Mikael Fonsell, which is a local player from. And I played with his father back in the day.
Okay.
So yeah, so he looks good. He's 21 and also very promising. And another guy worth mentioning, although he's not he's out on loan at the moment. It's a guy called Ari Mufundu. He was on the Guardian top 60. Promising young players like 4 years ago.
Right. Okay.
as you know, in the really good company, of course. But he had a lot of injuries and struggled, and you know, you have to have some bad struggles if you go from that list to IFK Mariehamn, of course. But then now they have actually given him on loan for the season to KTP. No, sorry, to KPV in your region, right?
Yeah, in Jaro, yeah.
Yeah, so he will probably.
Oh no, sorry, KPV, Kokkola, sorry.
Kokkola, exactly. So I think they will try to groom him to this year, and maybe hopefully he comes in next year and take a place in Veikkausliiga if we're still there. But we'll see. So that's the defense. I think if you have question marks, it will be there. A lot of pressure is that the new guy, Pontus Lindgren, he needs to succeed and take the leadership of the back. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. We would still need a defender on the left and right. That's what we're missing, I think, in the troop. Jimmy Evari, the CEO, has talked about getting a player in on loan, but it hasn't happened yet. But we'll see. So all in all, towards the front looks a bit better. Towards the back, worryingly, not. There are some question marks there.
And that's kind of answered my next question, which is how do you feel about this year? And it seems that you feel about this year a little bit uncertain.
Yeah, but still quite positive. I think all in all, if the defense get to work reasonably, I think we will have a better season, because I feel there's a little bit more depth in the front and in the midfield, so that we can even, you know, live through an injury or two and still have a decent squad on the pitch. So in the end, I'm more positive this year than I was last year.
Okay. And
although, of course, you know, March is the time to be positive before
that's true.
Before the reality start punching you in the face in April.
But does that positivity stretch as far as being excited for the new season?
I'm always excited for the new season, and I always have positive opinions. But you know, the last 4 or 5 years has been a struggle, I would say, in general. I mean, I think we have been placed between 9th and 11th since 2019. So we've been hovering around, and it's been a miracle that we're still around, I think. But since Jimmy took over the club 2 years ago, I think there's been a lot of positive changes, and I feel it's baby steps because there's no financial resources, but the changes he made can make a big difference in the long run. And what I'm thinking is that, you know, my biggest point would be that we used to have a lot of older Finnish players that close to 30 that can't get a place in a better Finnish team squad like KuPS or HJK. And when they're thrown out, they come to us with a high salary, and maybe their peak as players are behind them. So there's really nothing to gain out of them just playing for a year. But now Jimmy takes in younger players, younger Finnish players, sign them on longer contracts. So, you know, if you take in 5, maybe 1 at some point we can develop and sell, then that's really a financial thing we need for the club, because the incomes are not flowing in, and there's not much potential when you're on an island with 30,000 people. Yeah. We will never have 5,000 in the stands, right? It will never happen.
I'm really disappointed about the away game in Mariehamn this year is at Easter, and we had it in our minds that we might actually make the trip this year, but the Easter weekend doesn't work for us, and it's also quite early in the season. I was looking forward to going down to the archipelago in, I don't know, June or August or something like that, and having a nice weekend away.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that there's not more people following the teams away, because I mean it's almost like a little bit of a foreign trip for many of the mainland teams, right? You know, you get the ferry, you get to hear another language and a little bit of another culture. So I mean, and you know, it's easy to take over that stadium as well because there's so few of the locals, right?
But that's it's something I'll have to save for the future, then I suppose. If not this year, unless Mariehamn can finish in the top 6, and then we might get another away game. But then that'll probably be in October, and It's the other end of the summer season.
But Mariehamn is known as the Hawaii of Finland, so it's quite balmy compared to the north of Finland, at least.
Okay, well, if we do get that opportunity, I might hold you to that. And if it's cold and I'm there in my shorts, then we'll be having words.
Yeah, I think you.
So you've just mentioned that the last few years have been somewhere between 9th and 11th. Dare you dream this season?
Yes, I'm a little bit more positive this year, actually. I think if things really fall in place with the new attacking squad, and they can, do 8-10 goals each or something like that in between them, that our two new English guys. Actually, we will have a full English attack, I think, in the first line. 3 Englishmen on top. We also have Jaden Reed, who's been since last year as well. Last year he was a lot injured, but this year he looks ready to go. But if that works, I think we should push for fighting for a place in the top half. So squeeze in 6th maybe. I mean that's the dreaming phase of things. My big hope is that we just stay way out of the trouble down in 11th, 12th place, that we have a bit of margin down there. So if I have to guess a place, I would say 8th would be probably a reasonable guess. That is, many people can see as a bit optimistic, because I've been reading the Finnish predictions, and we are probably 10th, 11th, or even 12th in all the papers like Veikkausliiga or things like that. But as we always say on Åland, when we won 2016, I think it was Urheilulehti had us to be last and fall out. So we always get this feedback from the mainland.
What do they know?
What do they know? Exactly. I mean, also, we didn't mention that, but we also, the trainer now, Gary Williams, he's also untested on this level. He took over the last 3 months last year and saved us in Veikkausliiga, but this time he and Jimmy has created the whole team. They brought in all the new players and got rid of them. So this is the first time in a long time we had both the CEO and the trainer in place for way before the season starts, and they can construct their own team and their own squad. So that should help them, but let's see where that leads us.
Well, we're now only a few days away by the time this is published from finding out how that season is going to start. So, Johan, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Hi, I'm Tuomas Komulainen. I am an AC Oulu supporter and also co-host of the Raatin Kutosana podcast that deals AC Oulu and everything around the club. So I'm really, really excited to be here in your podcast to tell about AC Oulu circumstances before the upcoming season.
Another podcaster, that's great. Someone who knows what they're doing and what they're talking about. This is good stuff. Thanks, Tuomas. So which players have you signed this year, and who has left your club? Looking at the list, there's quite a few changes. So maybe some of the most important signings and the most important departures.
Okay, yeah, there were some major changes to the team this year, but most obviously, if you start from the bottom, Callum Ward, the goalkeeper, who had I think three seasons with AC Oulu. He left to Motherwell in Scottish Premier League, and then Yasin Daussi, who had been last 2 seasons with AC Oulu, really offensive-minded wing back, left for 8th, returned there, and then I think obviously Ashley Coffey. It was sort of a blessing that he continued with AC Oulu last season, because I don't know where would AC Oulu have been, maybe in the relegation games, if we didn't have Coffey with us. So Coffey went to China second tier, and really happy for him get that proper money and maybe good window to get to a bigger club in Asia. He wanted to go there. Actually, he was going to South Korea a year ago, but it all folded down. And luckily for us, and then those are maybe the main departures. Obviously, we have really big changes in the centre back section. Joselo left, and also I think that's the main departure, I think. But if you go to the new players, we now have 2 goalkeepers. Last season, Callum was the only one who could play.
Really? The only one on the books, or the only one that was
only one who could play. We had juniors, but he was the only one that played Veikkausliiga that could play.
Lucky he stayed fit then, I suppose.
Yeah, he stayed fit, but it showed. If you are the only goalkeeper, you're gonna have a bad game, and you're gonna start.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, we have two good goalkeepers. William Eskelinen joined us from Icelandic league. He has very good CV. I don't think Oulu have had as good goalkeeper as he is before. So he have played for Aarhus in Danish Super League and in Allsvenskan, Superettan. And then we have a second goalkeeper, Niklas Schultz from Serie D, a young goalkeeper. He turns 20 this year. So we have two different goalkeepers to match different opponents, and basically, and then we have from Asiko, actually, obviously, 2 Rovaniemi Northern boys. Otto Kemppanen, really promising right wing back. If he stays fit, he could be the under 21 European Championship roster, I think so. And then Tuomas Kaukua, a winger, speedy winger. Really excited about him also.
I think you should be excited about both of them. I was disappointed that both of them left at the end of last year, because I think they were both really growing. Kemppainen kind of started to develop earlier in the season, but the second half of the year, Tuomas Kaukua really started to look like he was making that place his own, and it was a surprise that they both left. There must be some good money up there in Oulu to attract them away, but I think you should be excited. It'll be good to see them continue to develop.
Yeah, and we have been in Oulu yearning for players from Rovaniemi for years after Robs collapsed, but we haven't got any, and so it's a big plus. I think people from Rovaniemi will travel to Oulu in a lot of games, and it's important in that sense also that we have Otto and Tuomas in the roster.
How far is the journey from Rovaniemi for fans to come?
It's 200 kilometers, so it's not that bad. You can go by train or by road.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if there's some local boys there, it might just attract them over for Veikkausliiga quality football.
Yeah, most definitely. But if we go to the midfield, there's big changes. Obviously, Niklas Jokelainen stayed, but he's very offensive-minded midfielder. Also plays as a winger. So we have fully reconstructed the midfield. Abu Dumbuya, he's a Sierra Leone national team player. He joined us from Northern Cyprus. Really strange league to come, but actually he's just played against Egypt in the African World Cup qualifiers. And
right, okay.
Then we have only Tihon, and he played years in the Romanian second tier. He was injured for the most part of the pre-season, but looked solid when he was on the pitch. And then we have a really long Matias Ojala, who is a local guy from Oulu and hasn't played with Oulu for 10 years. So he returned, really important signing, also a vice captain. And then I think that was about it. And then of course, the replacement of Ashley Coffey, Marocchi Dione, a Swedish big nine, joined us from I think it was from Romania. He had played in Allsvenskan and Denmark before, so he has been so far promising, but he hasn't played that much in the previous seasons.
The Veikkausliiga website is showing that Eetu Mömmö came to Oulu. Is that correct? Because I'm sure I've talked to another fan who thinks he's gone to their club, so that was a bit surprising.
No, that's a mistake.
Okay,
for some reason. Yeah.
Because he can only play for one club at a time.
Yeah.
That much is true. So how do you feel about the changes to your squad? Like you said, they're big changes. You seem very positive about the players that are coming in, but in general, do you feel like this is progressing the squad?
Yeah, the roster depth is unbelievable. If you look what it has been, but I don't think we have like a star players, or I haven't shown that talent, but we have good depth in every position, especially in the wing backs. We have two good options for both sides, and then we have good wingers, and some of the wingers like Otto Salmens who can also play as a wing back. So we are strong in the wings, but there's question marks who will make the plays in the midfield, has the ball, pass it around. So that's a big question mark. And also Justin Renix, he played more as a winger last season. He probably will start as the nine in the ninth spot, and Marocchi Dione will come as a super sub, and they will compete. But we don't have really like a third choice striker in the roster, so that's a bit of a question mark. But also could be our strength that we have a good two strikers. But both of those, Dione and Renix, haven't been playing that much in the previous season.
Are you excited for this new 2025 season?
I think I'm excited, but a little worried also. I think the ceiling is quite high, but we could have problems making goals and having problems with offense. The centre back situation is really good. Actually, Mika Koskela returned on loan from Tromsø. Just I think yesterday the club published that. So we are really strong with the centre backs in the defense, but maybe lacking something in the offense.
What about new players coming through? Like young players developing your own players. How's that at Oulu?
I think it looks really good because we have a couple of years ago the B juniors were second in Finland, and we have the reserve team in Ykkönen third tier, and then we have a OSPA collaboration team from Oulun Salo, and they play in Kakkonen fourth tier. So there's the
the pathway between the different sides.
Yeah, but if you go to the young players who are really promising, and you should have a look. Obviously, Julius Körkkä was good last season, made some goals. He's one to keep an eye on. And then Emil Merikanto. He's a bit of a late bloomer. Last year he was really strong with the reserve team and got some playing time in the last games of the Veikkausliiga season. He's an offensive-minded midfielder. He could make an impact. And then we have two center backs from Oulu, Otsis Parkkila, and then we have one player from Ghana in the reserves. I haven't seen him yet, but he could be a promising player. So there's quite a few young players that could make the breakthrough this year.
So the moment of truth. How do you think RC Oulu is going to do this year in Veikkausliiga, Suomen Cup. What are your predictions?
Actually, we did this in the Rati Kutosana podcast, evaluated how each team could be this season, and I said that RC Oulu will be 7th. But obviously, the Suomen Cup is our chance, and it's a roll of dice for the most part. But we could go far if we got lucky and don't face Hoiko Ilves in early stages. So I say that we go to the quarterfinals in Suomen Cup.
Sounds good. Good luck with that, Tuomas, and thanks for joining us on the Finnish Football Show.
Thanks for the invite.
So big thanks there to Tuomas from Haka, Johan from Mariehamn, Tuomas from Oulu, and Finnish Football Show regular Ally from HJK. I think it brings quite a lot to the show to hear people who know their club really talk about their club. And so thanks to all those guys for agreeing to take part. And listener, the second episode in this series will be along in a couple of days. So if you haven't heard your team yet, it could be along in the next episode. So keep listening. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do that wherever you're watching or listening to this show. Thanks a lot. Until the next episode of the Finnish Football Show, goodbye. You've been listening to the Finnish Football Show. You can find us online at finishfootballshow.com. Remember to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening or watching. You can follow the Finnish Football Show page and group on Facebook and also on Instagram. Escape to Suomi on Twitter is now Finnish Football Show on X. And you will find us on Blue Sky at Finnish Football Pod. See the links in the episode description, along with the links to the Finnish Football Show merch.